Welcome everybody, my name is Paul Smyers. If you've seen some other videos, well, welcome back, and new subscribers or visitors. I'm going to talk a little bit about finding the exact property that you want. I get calls, and a lot of realtors get calls. We get asked to go look at a property and so on. And the one thing that I tell people is if you don't know what you want, then your agent is not going to know what you want either. So what you have to do is really make a list of all the things that you must have in a property. And when you put it in the parameters, let's say you search on Zillow or you search on Realtor.com, for example, you can put in different parameters and just be as really specific as you can. Now, let's say you have to have some parameters of your price. If you can go up a little bit in price, or if you figure that maybe if it's, let's say it's $250,000 you're looking for, if you look in this 275 range, you might find somebody in that range that's just above 250 that you can maybe negotiate. Maybe they're willing to make a deal or something like that, or maybe you can find a little extra money, push $5,000 or whatever. But don't be extremely precise about your financing amount yet, okay? Because right now you want to kind of get a closer parameters, as I was indicating. So another thing is whether you want the square footage and how much bathroom and bedroom you want and so on. So it's very specific. Like I have people tell me, okay, I want to have 5 acres. Okay, 5 acres is a great amount, but let's say you have 5 acres, but there's only 1 acre cleared, and you got a lot of shade, and you really can't grow anything there, and you can't put your solar on there. Then that 5 acres really doesn't do any good. It looks mostly wooded, you see. So you might have to buy more than that, or else you have to find a piece of land that already has a lot of clearing so you can do what you want there, you see. So put a pretty close parameter and price when you search. The acreage, only you can determine exactly what your no deals are and what your done deals. If you really want a pond and you find a property with a pond and it's close to your price, okay, you're not going to find too many places that have a pond already, especially one with fish in it, and so on. So there's those kind of things that you have to figure out for yourself. Now, when you get together with a realtor or someone like myself, we'll talk about that. Well, I'll interview people. I write notes. I take notes, very careful notes, whether you want chickens or goats, or you want to have solar, or you a do-it-yourself type of person. Do you want everything well made already? Can you handle some rustic and so on? So there's a lot of things that if there's a property that has a lot of the things that you really, really like, but let's say it needs a new deck, and the deck is okay, but it's old, let's say. Okay, well, you can do something about the deck, and it's not like a foundation or a roof or something, and you can treat a deck and you can make it last a few more years, and then you put in your plan and say, okay, when I get a little further along here in a couple of years, I'm going to do a total new deck, and it's going to be awesome, you see? So find out what you need. Like a property that, let's say you want a stream. Okay, you have to have a stream, then you have to find a place that has a stream, obviously. But let's say, for example, there's some other factors. Let's say there's a shed, or you want to have a shed. Okay, maybe the shed's not there, but you can easily put a shed there, you see. So there's things that you can compensate for yourself without too much cost. And there's other things that really, you don't want to have to replace a septic system, for example, okay? So, or put a new one in. So those are the kind of things that really helps you out. Now, along the way in giving you some of these tips here, I'm going to recommend a few books here, because I always think it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of information that you can get from some of these books. Here's an interesting book here. Welcome to the Country, Things You Need to Know When Moving to Rural Virginia, okay? Check out this book. It's not very thick. I've only browsed through it. I just got it recently. Another beautiful book. This is First Person Rural. I'm starting to read this book, and it's written some years ago, and it was essays of a sometime farmer. She moved away from, I think it was up in the Northeast somewhere. She moved away from the city and got into the country life, and this is a little book about her transition. It's kind of poignant and fun to read, and I've only gotten into the first few chapters here. But this is the kind of story that a lot of people are having these days. I get a lot of calls, people moving out the country from the cities because elderly people like myself, we don't need the traffic anymore or the taxes, so we moved to the country where it's a lot simpler. Now, our website here is about back to basics. I've mentioned this book before, but a lot of people are discovering the joys of a simpler life, and just little things that make the country living a little more palatable and sweet. There's things that you can do. There's people who produce their own food and jams and jellies. They make pies. They make pumpkins, and there's all kinds of stuff. People make furniture, and this particular book, I recommend people get a copy of it. But it really goes into a whole lot of stuff, all about different predators and animals you might encounter, and the history of country life, and even recipes, and there's things you can build and little dimensions and how to use tools. So this book is just a really awesome book. I don't know, it may not be in print anymore. I know they ran it for many years. I think this is from the 80s. So check out this book, and this is it'll be dear to your heart, and keep it in a copy of your house for a long time. Now, people ask me about log homes. When you think about the kind of home that you want, there are people who want log homes. But let me tell you a little bit about it. They're, of course, a tradition in America, and they're very durable. There's some of them still standing after 200 years. And if you build a modern log home in the right way, it will last a really, really long time. But they're not for everybody. They're a little unusual in some ways. There's a lot of wood, there's a lot of brown inside. If you look at these modern log homes with these 1-foot logs, if you ever want to put an addition on a log home like that, yeah, it's a little tough, because you got to carve into these big, huge, thick walls, and it's not my taste particularly. I like a simple rustic cabin in logs, but I don't know, all that wood. But they make a lot of sense in certain environments, especially if you get a lot of snow. They're very durable, and they withstand all kinds of winds and stuff. So it's interesting. This book here, you can look this up here. I don't know. You can find it on Amazon. But it has a little bit about the history of log homes, and many different samples of them and the early types. This is the type that they used to build all around the country with the stuff in between the logs. They went from just the full logs into the hewn beams and so on. So there's a whole development of log cabins. Again, if you think of home ideas, 50 great houses from architects, fantastic designs that maybe you're in the mood to build your own dream house, and you can get some really great ideas. There's ways to open up a house architecturally. Some of the old houses, even the modern houses, frankly, a lot of the modern houses are very boring, honestly. They're really boring. And I see a lot of them. Of course, they're, all the same thing from Lowe's and so on. Here's one with big beams and so on. But you can get your own creativity when it comes to designing your house, and consult big architects. You don't need to hire a fancy architect, but you can get some ideas and tell your builder, or maybe if you're handy, you can get some ideas from some of these famous designers and put them into your property. Now, quickly here, don't you love old recipe books, the old style cooking? I find these old books, I'm not a cook myself, but I know people who are, and the old style recipes, old-fashioned good old cooking. And, there's some fantastic recipes that are really old, mamas, grandmas cooking, as they say. So, again, check it out. You can find these kind of books in thrift stores, just for $1 or whatever. Working animals, another long tradition all around the world. It's amazing how many animals have helped people in the world. I mean, everything from dogs and all kinds of hunting animals, and horses and cows and chickens and everything. There's just working animals. In many parts of the world, they still use them to pull carts or whatever. If you go to India, you'll see. In probably parts of the Middle East, they use camels still. They use camels in India still for a lot of different things. I've been on a camel and on an elephant, and boy, it's something to remember for sure. So just a couple little things here. I'll go quickly back here. There's a little herb book here. I recommend people get a little, if they're going to live in the countryside, there's things growing on your land probably right now that might be of some use to you in some way. And the old people, we live without hospitals and pharmacies for a long time on this planet. So there's a lot of herbs out there that are useful. And just another couple of real quick books here before I finish you. Um, Built-ins. Built-ins are a really good asset to find in some of these old houses. I have a family member who has an older house from 100 years ago. Boy, you should see the built-in dinner dish cabinet. Oh man, I mean, in the pantry, in the kitchen, oh my. It'd be thousands to pay somebody to do that today, even if you can find somebody to do it. So if you find a house that has really strong built-ins and old-fashioned style built-ins, that's a real big bonus. Or you can, if you're handy, you can get into some of that yourself, you see. You know, there's all kinds of things that you can learn from books like this to maximize the space. In the old-fashioned homes, they had to maximize every square foot of space, so they had to build in shelves and cabinets and every kind of thing to help them. Now, one more book here, Ultimate Tool Guide. Don't you love tools? If you live in the country, you got to have some tools. So, man, it's fascinating, the old kind of tools. There's tools, the old style tools, new style tools. I'm a real big fan of tools. I like to collect them. I like to find any kind of tools. I got guitar tools and tools for machines and electronic tools, and I got like tools for every kind of thing I can imagine. I just love tools. So that'll be it for now, and hope you visit some of my other videos. I talk a lot about various kinds of things going on with property in the rural areas, and we're starting a meetup group. I have a hip camp thing. You can look on my video. We're starting more of a hip camp thing going on here on my property. And just correspond with me. I love to hear from people, no matter where you are from. Maybe I can do something, answer a question or so to help you find some property. But I appreciate you looking at my videos, and